week 9 for WorldCiv. So here we are, moving along. We just covered Greece, extremely important. You guys seem to recognize that in your discussions very much. And now I'm covering Judaism, the development of Judaism. Now I'm making this separate from ancient Israel. And I have a paper due on Sunday. And by the way, so we have a paper exam, which is self-explanatory. I think you guys get what I'm looking for on that at this point. And when I say compare ancient Israel to Judaism, I'm really saying look back at your notes in your papers that you did on ancient Israel and what we're covering on Judaism and what's different. I say hint, temple, and Talmud. You're going to be learning a lot about the Talmud. And that right there should be something that's in your papers. For some reason, I think the last semester I taught this, I had so many that just didn't get the difference. And I think for a lot of them, they just really weren't really looking back at the notes that we covered on ancient Israel and Judaism. So, one, I'm just going to help you out a little bit with this paper because this is something I want you to think about. Ancient Israel, think about how, first of all, it's ancient. We go back into time where things are much more debatable historically for us to try to figure out. And as you get into the later period of ancient Israel, things are a little bit more concrete. But we do know that they had a temple with priests that did animal sacrifice. Then that temple gets destroyed. There, to this day, do we see Jewish people practicing animal sacrifice at the temple? Well, you should know the answer to that right now, but if you can't remember, look that up. Now, in terms of the Talmud, we're talking about rabbinic literature, the teachings of the rabbis. And this is a very important aspect of Judaism. This is Judaism that is developed. I do talk about the Karaites a little bit, and they're significant to the history, but ultimately the Talmud holds a lot of weight. Now, just to clarify, I may have mentioned this in some of my lectures, but I just want to make it extra clear. If you look up on YouTube and you just put, or on Google, the Talmud, you are going to get a lot of different political perspectives. You're going to get some white nationalists telling you about the evils of the Talmud, or some Christian groups telling you about the evils of the Talmud. I just want to say something about this. If I can't remember right now if I reiterated this anywhere, if I stated this anywhere in my lectures right now. I looked through some of the lectures, but then I forget. Anyways, okay, so the Talmud is massive, and it covers a lot of different debates. And there are things in there that are universal, things that many people will consider to be part of world wisdom literature. Some are very patriarchal, very much applicable, and maybe significant to male culture at the expense of women, because this is typical of all religious and traditions clear across the board. Some are very specific to Jews themselves, and there are at times things that talk about universal values towards everyone, and other times you have discussions in there about the difference between the Jewish community and the outside Jewish community, and those can be seen as negative or positive, and sometimes very negative. And the problem with a lot of groups, that if you want to oversimplify when we talk about hate groups, they can take little truths and then make them into a kind of distorted message. Okay? And so if I look at I think right now, as we can see, when you look at all of these different religious traditions that we're studying and different histories, almost all of them have things that we can highlight that are negative or positive. So that's basically really all I want to say on that, just to kind of remind us about clarity on all these subjects, to give us our nuance, if you will. And just, I always feel like I have to kind of address some of these things, because on the internet, as a researcher and as an instructor, I see how history is utilized by different political ideological groups to try to make a case for something. And when I see some of these distortions take place, I feel like I need to call these out to you guys, because if you're interested in these subjects, you're going to brush up against them, and I just kind of want you to be aware. And so if you did that and you have some real questions that you want to ask me, I will not judge you. I won't accuse you of racism or anything like that. I'd rather just make this a safe space for you to be able to, if you want to hit me up about any of our subjects that we've talked about, and you've come across something that's really negative or controversial, and especially if you've seen it online, come to your professor now, and I can help you dealing with more, with reputable sources and different various ways to look at subjects that are tackled like this. So that's all I have to say. I hope you have a great and wonderful week, and again, we'll be in touch.